The UNM Regents grant faculty and staff raises but refuse additional tuition hikes to fund them.
And APD is feeling the heat after unleashing their heaters in a videotape shooting.
New bike trails and a profile of a student journalist. I'm Micaela Eldridge-Lane.
And I'm Mark Acosta. All this on UNM News.
A videotape of the March 16th shooting of unauthorized homeless camper James Boyd has gone viral, and the Albuquerque Police Department is again under scrutiny for its use of deadly force in the Sandia Foothills. At the governor's request, the FBI is investigating the fatal incident, and on March 30th, the hackivist group Anonymous turned up the heat on APD. It organized a march on Central Avenue and a denial of service attack on the department's website. The department did indeed report that its website went down to an overload of traffic, and APD used tear gas and arrested 6 protesters when a weekend march became disorderly.
The UNM Regents granted a 3% raise to faculty and a 2% raise to staff, but failed to indicate the source of the funding for the raises. The Regents' vote came on March 28th, and there had been speculation that an across-the-board tuition increase might pay for the salary increases. Although the Regents approved some minor differential tuition increases for students in Anderson School and the School of Architecture and Planning, it's not clear at this point where the annual $6 million increase in payroll will come from.
The Daily Lobo has been covering these issues, and that's kept its editor-in-chief, Antonio Sanchez, busy, as usual. J.R. Oppenheim has this profile on one of the Lobo's student manager.
I'm actually using it right now. I think it's not because I'm using it.
Antonio Sanchez is a journalism major and an English minor at the University of New Mexico. He also works as the editor-in-chief for the Daily Lobo, having taken over the position last fall.
I'm in charge of overlooking every story published at the Daily Lobo. I look over weekly budgets, I look over every photo that's published in every Daily Lobo. Depending on if I close, I look over cut lines and headlines.
Closing, or putting the finishing touches on the paper and sending it to the printer, typically happens late, around 11 p.m. Sanchez also oversees the hiring process and serves as executive producer for The How, a new weekly webcast created by Lobo staff. That doesn't leave much room in his schedule.
As a student who's taking 18 credit hours my last semester, a lot of my time is way spread thin. So I guess just finding the time to do everything, and to not just do everything, but to do everything at a particular level of quality. But it's fun, it's a challenge.
The work should go a long way to help Sanchez reach his long-term goal, becoming a journalist. He wants to continue working in the media regardless of the format.
I don't want to pigeonhole myself as a writer or as somebody who's way into print. Don't get me wrong, I love print, but I do see the opportunities with each platform, whether it be online or broadcast or even radio. I think radio is great.
For Sanchez, it's all about finding the right opportunity to be able to produce content for a media outlet, whether it be newspapers, video, or web publishing. This is J.R. Oppenheim reporting.
Finally, Mark Acosta reports that in the last few years, Albuquerque has been busy constructing new bike trails linking its west side.
This is just one of the trails newly constructed on the northwest side of Albuquerque and one of many making up the city's bike and multi-use trail system. Bicyclists like Stephen Calvin enjoy the attention the city pays to recreational trails.
Well, the bike system here in Albuquerque is actually pretty good. We have a lot of multi-use trails and just trails and that bicyclists and pedestrians can use all over. We have a lot of them that go around the whole city, and we even have streets just designated for bicyclists, like Bicycles Boulevard, who have the right-of-way, and I love it. We're one of the most bike-friendly cities.
New multi-use trails have been appearing on the west side within the past few months, like this one near Paseo del Norte and Golf Course Road. This trail running along Unser in the Ventana Ranch area is just weeks old. With spring here and the days getting warmer and longer, it's clear how vital these recreational areas are for citizens to exercise and enjoy the outdoors. This is Mark Acosta reporting.
We are joined today by Mark Acosta, who has more details on the West Side trails. Mark, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
For starters, Mark, why specifically the building on the west side?
Well, the west side is one of the few places the city actually has a lot of room to grow still. We're kind of limited by the Sandia Mountains on the east side, the Isleta Indian Reservation in the south, and there's a lot of areas of the West Mesa that are protected. So the northwest side of the city actually has a lot of room.
What are some of the concerns or problems that have been coming with the building of the new trails?
I think most of the concern on that side of town is the Petroglyph National Monument. It runs all along the West Mesa there, and there are Indian rock carvings and some early Spanish rock carvings on those, so they're really important. And sometimes they'll relocate those if they have to do something there. When they expanded Paseo del Norte and Unser into the Ventana Ranch area, they relocated some of those rocks. So I mean, that's a consideration in the future, and some people don't like that idea.
Has there been any talks of how long before a resolution is set?
I think it's just about finding a balance. I mean, they continue to build houses on that side of town, so there's going to be more need for recreational trails and bike trails leading into different areas. So it's just about finding that balance between building housing and preserving the landscape.
Alrighty, Mark, thank you for the new information.
Thank you.
So Marcus, you're gonna go hit those new trails?
Definitely. It's exciting for the city and the west side, and I'll definitely be out there and wearing my helmet because kids, make sure you use your safety.
Well, that's all for UNM News.